Episode 1, Season 2, I guess, of Postseason Pod. Welcome back, Trip Miley with
Bryce, Phil
yep, and
Pazza.
we're gonna get into some NHL talk here and just sort of preview the 2024-2025 NHL season, which should be a pretty good one. So, both at school now and starting our sophomore years in college. So, looking forward to talking with everyone and giving out our predictions and maybe some hot takes we may have.
Yeah. You got your season starting tonight.
Yeah, we
Pulling
do.
it. Go Stangs, go Stangs. Who you guys got tonight? Who you guys got?
Yeah, I played club hockey at SMU, ACHA Div 2, where we got a big matchup this weekend. We got 3 games. So we got University of North Texas the first 2 nights, then Sunday afternoon matinee against TCU. Um, you know, I'm sort of excited, but sort of interested to see how our lineup plays. We're very skilled. We might not win those games 3-1, but we can score. We can go 8-7 against some teams. We might not play the most defense, but we can score some goals. So
That's
it'll
good stuff. You just
yeah,
gotta put the puck in the back of the net, play a little D, and it all works out at the end of the night.
just got to score more than they do, right? So it's
Simple game. Simple game.
literally, yeah. We don't have an identity. We don't really have those Clutterbucks and Matt Martins and
Those identity
uh,
guys.
yeah, we need like more of a Blake Coleman. We need those guys that can get in the corners and maybe add a little bit of skill.
Some
We'll
Yanni
get
Gourds.
yeah, exactly. We'll get to the Pacific another time, but sneakiest 30-goal season by Blake Coleman last year, I think.
No.
That's but Flames are for another topic, but today we're gonna preview the Central Division. Um,
Yeah.
as a non-biased Blackhawks fan. But we're gonna start in the Mile High City. We're going to go out to Nathan McKinnon's team. We got the Colorado Avalanche. So I'll give my quick thoughts, I think, and then we can maybe get into a discussion about potentially where they're at. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think they're a healthy playoff team. We heard Sakic come out this week and say that Val Nichushkin is going to be back maybe November-ish. Landeskog is still a big question mark. I hope he comes back because he's sort of a guy you want to root for in the league. But the defense, it's there. They brought in Oliver Shillington over from Calgary, I believe. So I think that'll be a good addition for them, losing Sean Walker to the Hurricanes. So, but as always, I hate their goaltending. I really don't like Alexander Georgiev. I think his stats are inflated by how good their team is. Um, so I think they might reach the second round. But what do you think about their lineup?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with all that you're saying. I think whatever happens with Nichushkin, I think it's going to be either a huge positive or a huge loss because I mean, in the playoffs last year before he got canned, what he had like what 6 goals and like three apples, like he was like unbelievable in that first round, and and then you were saying like current stuff. Mikko Rantanen just came out, and I think I don't know. I think his contract expires at the end of this year, maybe, and he says he doesn't want to leave. So that's another positive for them to look ahead. They still have that young decor with Taves and McCarr, but I think it's goaltending at the end of the day, like you said. Like, you can't have Georgiev and then their backup is Hudis like I never even heard of this guy, man. Like,
Eustace Ananen.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I mean he's 6'4".
I think he's
He's
a pretty
6'4".
promising prospect, and I think he actually stole the net towards the end of the year before the playoffs a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that could be a bright spot in goal for them. But they have the reigning Hart Trophy winner and Nathan McKinnon, who I'm not sure. I want to say he'll be able to put up 140 points again, but I'm not sure that's totally realistic. I'm a big Nathan McKinnon fan, actually. I think he's Probably the best player.
in the
I think
league.
he's the best player in the league. I know McDavid's up there, but I think the McKinnon doesn't really have a Draisaitl, let's say that. I know he has Makar, and that's probably as good as Draisaitl and Rantanen versus Bouchard, but we're not comparing teams at the moment. But yeah, I just think that they're poised for a playoff run. Maybe get
Yeah,
some guys back. Landeskog
yeah,
and Nichushkin. I think a big question mark for me and them is their second line center. Is Middlestat going to be able to fill that role? Nobody's really filled that since Kadri left. So he looked good when he came over at the end of the regular season and a little bit in the playoffs, but looking to see what he can do for them. And as always, I think their secondary scoring has to keep up with the primary scoring because if not, then I think their lack of a effective bottom six maybe could hamper their ability to make a deep run in the playoffs.
yeah. And I think two guys that didn't get to play full years last year. I think are going to be two big parts in this upcoming season. I think Sammy Gerard and Jonathan Drouin. Both didn't really get to play all 82 and all playoff games, especially Gerard. Like you can tell the defensive back end. Like when you have guys, I mean, these are guys like Calvin DeHaan or like Josh Manson who shouldn't be second line D pairs that had to step up. That's a big role to fill that they shouldn't have to fill at this stage in their career. So if guys like you're saying like secondary scoring guys like Gerard and Druin who are second power play, like if they can help out that second unit and just doing what they need to do for the team by putting up their points, then I Colorado Avalanche they could have a good run in playoffs this year maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Gerard and Makar because they both got to stay off the IR. Makar is good for a 5 to 10 game injury every year, which is unfortunate. But I think I think if he gets you 25 and 20 or 20 and 20, I think that's pretty good. Maybe not playing with McKinnon on that first line. Maybe he needs like 50, 55 points. But if he can reach anywhere between that 47 to 63 point number, I think they could be in pretty good standing come the end of the year. Next, we're going to go with the new team. We're going to go with the Utah Hockey Club.
Utah Hockey Club, or maybe the Yetis, as Clayton Keller
yeah.
might have ruined.
You want to give your initial thoughts on the hockey club and see where they sort of shake out this season?
I think they're going to be good. I as like even though it's basically Arizona, I think they're going to be a good hockey team. I mean, they brought in that off season. I don't want to call it blockbuster, but getting Sergachev over here for the picks, and I forgot who they sent back, but they sent someone else, a defenseman back with them. But I think Sergachev is going to be a big part. These guys on the team, Matthias Michelli, unbelievable. Barrett and all these Clayton Keller, obviously, those guys are all going to take one more next step in their career. And then they bring in a veteran, Yamamoto, on a PTO. So just guys like that. That's going to bring maybe a little depth, a little leadership to a new team. And they also brought in Bertuzzo as well, another leadership guy. But I think it's going to be all right. But I think it might be defensemen, even though they brought in Sergachev, like Valimaki, all, like their second and third line deep pairs. I don't really know much about them, but I don't think they're that very deep in that area of the ice.
Yeah, I sort of second that. I think they'll hopefully take a next step because I know we're not really talking about the front office, but they might have to make a decision on Andre Tourigny, the head coach, if they don't sort of take another step this season. Um, I love Keller's game. I think Logan Cooley is prime for maybe 65 points, maybe even more. Dylan Gunther, I think they have those two guys can really maybe take another step this year and become full-fledged NHLers. They did bring in John Marino as well on the back end. So I think that's a solid piece from New Jersey. Sean Dursey has sort of
Yeah.
he's sort of Vince Dunn-esque, sort of that sneaky offensive defenseman that I think LA probably really misses right now. I know their offensive defensemen are pretty set in stone at the moment, but in the future they may have not regretted a trade, but maybe fought a little harder to keep somebody with them. So there's a chance they make the playoffs, maybe as like a wild card 2 with maybe like 97 points. But if I'm not mistaken, I think their point total over under is like 87 and a half. So maybe even less, maybe like 82 for the total. And I think they really need to show that they are a contending team. I think there'll be sort of like that new Vegas-like buzz around the team, new city, new fans. Um, Obviously, probably going to have the support of the people from Arizona as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They do have a right-handed goalie, which we both don't like.
Yeah, but he lost the net last year to Connor
Yeah,
Ingram,
Connor
who
Ingram,
I don't think is
which
much better, but he did. Vishmelka, he only won 13 games out of the 38 he played,
that's bad.
which
I
is
didn't, I didn't know it
yeah,
was
that
that bad.
is
I didn't know it was that bad.
yeah,
It's terrible.
um, yeah. With a 3.35 goals against and an 8.9 save percentage, not really the best. But Connor Ingram wasn't much better with 50 games played and only 23 wins. But he had a 2.9 and a 907 save percentage. So, but I think the way that this team makes the playoffs as that second wild card spot. I think if they get hot and they go on like bits like streaks here and there, we saw that last year a little bit that they had a little streak. So they beat Edmonton in that last game, obviously. Um, I think this team's gonna get shot out of the cannon this year. I think they're gonna win like the first 5 games straight. I know they play the Islanders for the Islanders home opener, and then
They
they
play the
play
Blackhawks opening
yep
night.
opening night versus the Blackhawks, and then I think they take on the Rangers. And as as maybe as bad of a take this is, but I think they go 3-0. I think they're just gonna get shot out of a cannon, and then especially when they get back home, that whole. I think what's gonna be like Vegas-esque, where just the city, the fans just surround this team and love them, and I think it's gonna be a whole new atmosphere that these guys are gonna welcome with arms wide open, and I think they're gonna have a good start to the year.
All right. Yeah, that's great analysis. But finally, do you think they will be in the playoffs? We both have the Avs in. Do you think they get a spot?
Mm, I I I think it's like the last it comes down to the last few games of the year, and I think the Central take an extra wild card spot from the Pacific. So yeah,
Wow, you're going 5-3. Wow. Okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna say no.
I
I
say
I
no.
I think it'll be very close, but I think it's like it's them or LA, and I think LA is gonna grab it from them. But yeah, it'll be close, and I think sort of having that lineup that's more established of NHLers and successful winners will go a long way for them. So
Especially like you said, Cooley's one more year into the league, and then I don't know what they're gonna do with Iginla, but whatever happens with him, he could be and Josh Doan too, another young guy. So I mean, it depends if they make the lineup or not, but those could be difference makers at the end of the day as well.
yeah, sure. Next, we're gonna go to our man Barry Trotz. He did a lot of
What
work
a
this
guy.
summer. The Predators made a lot of offseason changes. They got into the playoffs last year with a record of 47, 30, and 5 for 99 points. Memorably, they had that like 18-game winning streak in
After
January.
canceling the concert, yeah.
Yeah,
No concert tickets.
canceling the concert. Barry Lamarillo laid the hammer down for the boys. One of my favorite players in the league, Philip Forsberg, staying in Smashville, obviously signed through contract a few years ago, but sort of popped off with 48 and 46 last year for 94 points. But they made a lot of changes this offseason. They have a quality top six. Brought in the likes of Stamkos and Marchessault, two right-handed forwards that can get you probably 30, 35 goals at this point in their career. And they brought in Brady Shea on the back end. I think that, UC Saros is back there. He's going to give you at least a 9-10, probably 9-10 save percentage. Not a lot of young guys probably going to come up and play and sort of make their name as rosters. I think they need to see steps from guys like Tomasino, who just got re-signed for 825. Sort of prove it, show me what you can do. And then Luke Evangelista as well. So those two guys sort of showed a little bit of flashes and stretches of games in the past 2 years. But I think ultimately they will make the playoffs. Could be a sneaky contender if Roman Yossi, who I love, can sort of play at that Norris level.
Yeah, I 100% agree. They also have our boy Kiefer Bellows on this team. I mean, like you said, they got rid of a lot of talent, but they also brought in a bunch as well. They brought in a young guy from the Cody Glass, my boy trade, Jordan Frasca, I think is how it's pronounced. So he could be a good young guy. Maybe he gets in the lineup this year. If he doesn't, another talent in the back pocket. You know what I mean? So it's great for the future. They got rid of Askarov, right-hand goalie. Got no problem with that. They've three capable goalies. I don't know who's going to be 1 and 2, but if I had to guess, it'd be Saros and Wedgwood. But they do have Matt Murray. So you have three capable goalies back there. You have a lot of good 6D men in front of them. I don't see why this team doesn't make the playoffs, to be honest. I think they got enough depth that if one of them does go down, if Stamkos does go down, there's someone there to fill lineup. Gustav Nyquist had hell of a year last year. Who
Career year.
no one would have thought.
He had 74 points, I think, which is insane.
And he had 6 points in the playoffs. It says too. So I mean, that's a good showing from him as a second and third line guy. But I mean, I think this team speaks for itself. I think good team.
Yeah, I think they're definitely sort of older, but hey, it's win now. You got guys who are in their sort of later primes, Yossi, Forsberg. Like, you want to get these guys a real chance to win. I think the only thing that could stop them is their age. Maybe if Ryan O'Reilly takes a massive step, but this guy prepares so vigorously and so close to attention to detail that I think that he's one of those guys that, even though he's not the quickest, he ages pretty well. He can always find a spot on any roster. He can play multiple sort of situations, up a goal, down a goal with a few minutes left. You want him on the ice. So I think that speaks volumes about, their veteran leadership, and hopefully they can shepherd some of these young guys along to give them a good chance at winning. And one guy on the back end, Jeremy Lauzon, he just pummels people. Like, he just hits anything that moves. So I think that could be a guy in the playoffs that you can sort of look at as maybe a disruptor, can sort of change the tide of a series or a game for them. So I'm going to go with that. They make the playoffs, obviously. I think you said that they're going to make it as well. So excited to see Smashville this year. Really excited, and see what they can do.
A lot of winners in that room, bringing in a lot of Stanley Cup guys, Stamkos, O'Reilly. I mean, they already had O'Reilly, but Marchessault as well, and Brunette, another year at the helm. I think they're going to be a good team. I think it's going to be I think Winnipeg take a step back this year, so I think it's them and Dallas for a 2-3 battle for them.
Wow. Okay. So let's go up north. Let's go north of the border. You touched on your Winnipeg Jets.
Yep.
What do you make of them? Obviously having a Vezina Trophy winner, but what are your expectations for the Jets this year?
I think they're going to be a good team. It's always going to be a tough place to play. Winnipeg Jets. They have a great lineup, especially with Kyle Connor. I'm interested to see what happens with Nikolai Ehlers.
Yeah.
What's going to happen there when we get to free agency, as well as Cole Perfetti. I don't think has still signed a contract extension as well. But up and down this roster, they have a lot of good guys. Niederreiter, Nemestikov, Lowry, and then they have making his official rookie season, Lambert.
Yeah.
And I didn't even touch on Gabe Velarde. So and I follow the two from the Dubois trade, but I think this is and Shifley obviously, but I think it's a good roster. I don't really see something special in it. I guess you can say like it's kind of I don't know. It's just kind of looks like a bland roster to me. I'd love to see Morrissey keep up the year that he just had. Maybe Pion. Play yeah. Hopefully Neil Pionk, maybe he takes another leap and gets closer to a like a 60-point season, something and just another leap in his career after having 33 points last year. But I think it's just going to be your run-of-the-mill team that'll make the playoffs. It'll be a hard place to play, not an easy place, but yeah, I see him getting the first wild card spot.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I think you see how great Hellebuck can be at times, and you saw him in the playoffs last year, and it was sort of odd to see him let in a few of those soft goals against the Avalanche when normally he's pretty dialed in. So I really don't like their decor. I think their decor is very thin. I think apart from Morrissey, you got guys, you saw them get dominated down low last year. I believe they addressed those issues this year as well. They brought in, who did they bring in? I forget, but they sort of have, they got Dylan DeMello. They got Ville Heinola, who I think he's technically still a rookie. Um, I think that there's just like a lot more to be desired. Hayden Fleury they brought in, Colin Miller, Dylan Sandberg, Logan Stanley, like just not guys I feel like can make a big impact when called upon, right? So Gabe Velarde, I think, is their X factor. I think if he can stay healthy, then he can get you 30, 33 goals potentially, maybe 65 points, 35 and 30. Shifley's going to need to do something relatively special, I think. Not like 95 points, but I think maybe like 80 to 85, which he's definitely capable of doing. Big news with the Jets the offseason, shipping out Rucker McGroarty after it seemed like it didn't feel right, quote, when he put on the jersey, which I'm not really sure what that means, but they got back Braden Yeager, who I think is a small, sort of feisty, skilled forward. So I think that, I think they'll be sort of, what you're going to get. Going to be difficult to get wins, but I do think they'll end up in the playoffs. I think first wild card is relatively accurate. Depending on how good Nashville is, if they take a big step, and if Colorado and Dallas sort of take that same approach. I mean, you never know with Arizona as well if they take a step, but I believe it's their first full year under Scott Arniel as well, after Rick Bowness sort of left halfway through the year ish.
It is.
So I'll sort of judge and see how they respond to his messaging as well. But yeah, I think they'll be in the playoffs. I don't think they'll be as have as much horsepower as previous years. I think if they need to make one move, if they want to get to that next step, it'll be defense. But yeah, I think I see them in the playoffs, and yeah, I think it's just sort of another solid team that we'll see how they do.
Yeah, I think their season, depending on how it goes, I think I could see them making big changes at the deadline. If they have a rough year and then they're not going to extend these guys.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see the Ehlers trade if they're not in
Exactly.
an adequate spot.
Yeah, exactly. Just
I'm, uh,
not saying that they're rebuild bound, but
yeah,
just shopping guys maybe a little bit for
yeah,
playoff
it's
competitive.
interesting. They sort of the way their team plays. Ehlers average like 14 minutes of ice a night, like 14 to 17 minutes. Like he's playing less than Mason Appleton and Lowry. And I just think you sort of need to let the leash loose with him. Like he's a guy that can get you 75 points, I think, if he plays 18, 19 minutes a night. And yeah, Perfetti, we'll see what his deal comes in at. I think the people are reporting maybe a short-term deal, but he's open to long-term. He's on the training camp roster, but he still doesn't have a deal, so I'm not really sure how that works. But poised for potential playoffs again, and I could see a situation where they get a wild card and maybe surprise the team. But yeah, so I think playoffs, but not something special in the postseason potentially.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Um,
Want to go to your guys in Chi-Town?
yeah, I mean, why not?
All right. Big news come out yesterday.
Hawks, yeah, big news yesterday. We have Nick Foligno as the 35th captain in Blackhawks history. Um, pretty, pretty excited about it. I mean, he's a guy that he's done it before. He's been a captain in the league before. He's well respected, hardworking. Guys love him. Able to send messages to different age groups, which I think is very effective for leadership. Um, it's just going to be probably a holdover captaincy until Connor is ready. Um, but I think that this team is still going to be in the doldrums of the league. Maybe not as bad as we have been in the past. I could see a world where maybe we surprise some people and get close, sort of like the Flyers did last year. Um, but I think ultimately we're looking for big seasons from young guys. I think Connor can. I don't think 100 points is crazy. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but I, I, I don't know. It's just I think it's got to be 85 at least. But I think anywhere from 85 to 100, I think 35 and 65 is like, I don't think that's insane to say. He had 23 goals last year, or 22, I'm sorry. Um, and he played like 60 games, 60, 65 games, missed with that jaw injury, but um, I think he's poised for a big year. Lev Shanov is probably going to be in the AHL, which is fine. I hope Frank Nazar can make the opening night roster. Really impressed with how good he was in the prospect tournament. I know he's playing against other prospects, but he was pretty effective. A lot of veterans they brought in. Happy about my boy Tavo returning. He's the man. Um, Definitely some guys on some 1 year deals that are probably going to get moved if we're that bad. Maroon, Craig Smith definitely could help out some contenders. Maybe Alec Martinez. Um, but the makeup of the team is solid for where we're at. Looking for a lot of development in the minors from guys like Slager, Doc. Korchinski might play down there, which I think could be helpful. I want him to be in the NHL, but I think he needs to hone his skills a little bit. So him and Levshinov as first pair in Rockford, I think could be good. But yeah, just looking for some development. X Factor, Lucas Reichel. I mean, we just need him to be good. He changed his number. He's going back to his Germany number, 73. We need him to be good. 19th overall draft pick, maybe 17th, I forget. 2019. Nope, that was Doc's year. Maybe 2020.
20.
Yeah, 20. But yeah, we just need him to we need 40, 50 points out of him, or else we're trading him because he is terrible. He's bad. He showed flashes 2 years ago at the end of the season, but bottom line, he has been bad. So he's got the skill and he's got the speed, but we really need him to take another step, or else he'll be back in the DEL pretty soon.
Um, I mean, I think you were spot on with your Hawks being like Red Wings or Montreal, this upcoming year. I like the forward lineup a lot actually, especially Taylor Hall coming back. I think that's gonna be huge, especially for like you're saying, Bedard getting 85 to 100 points. I think put those two guys together on a line. I think, or maybe fill it with on the wing with Reichel or Donato, someone who can just like somewhat keep up with them. I think is would be ideal. Maybe Mikheyev. I like that pickup by them. I know he's not like really at his prove it or lose it type of stage yet, but I think this is a good team for him to kind of, I don't know, reestablish himself in the league. I hope Frank Mazar, like you said, makes the roster. I love Kaiser. I think he's a solid guy in the back end. I don't know. I From the games I watched, I felt like um, you guys lost Brossois meniscus 5 to 6
that's
weeks,
tough.
which is big.
Soderblom, not good.
No,
Soderblom, not
yeah.
good.
And I would have thought that Brossois, he probably would have gone in, especially Mrazek signing the deal last year, extending 2 more years. But I think Brossois eventually would have overtaken the net. I thought he probably would have been the starter going in maybe by week 3, week 2. Um, but yeah, Soderblom, like you said,
Stinks.
no,
Stinks.
not good, not good.
Yeah.
But I give this team maybe like 70 and change points. I don't think they're
Okay.
gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be as bad as people think. You know, TJ Brody too on the back end. I think this team is gonna be, obviously we both know, a lot better than last year.
Yeah.
Um, and I think especially if this team can push teams into OT and shootouts, I think that would be a lot of points there. I could see them being, a lot of upsets from this team right here. I could see.
Yeah. Looking at some stats, their goal differential was minus 111 last year. So I think we could probably cut that in half, if not more. Um,
Didn't
s-
Seth Jones lead the league last year in plus
Something.
minus?
I think it was the Shark. I think it was a Sharks guy like Zadina or something.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, Seth Jones, he gets a lot of flack. I think he's better than the flack he gets, but we need at least 50 points out of him probably for his terrible contract. Philip Kershev really needs to prove that, you know, I mean, a lot of people are going to be Bedard merchants during their career, but if for some reason they don't play together, which right now at training camp this morning, I don't believe they were on the same line, or maybe I think um, it was Bedard, Bertuzzi, and Kurashev this morning at training camp during a little scrimmage they had. So maybe they keep that line together, maybe not. I think Bertuzzi is going to do wonders for Bedard's game, sort of getting him that puck, teaching him how to be sort of use his body to be physical, even though he's not the biggest guy. But yeah, I think 75 points that's a 25-point increase from what we had this year in 52. So, but as a diehard, we need a bad pick because I'm getting really, really just I'm getting a little worried because we don't have that second offensive stud prospect, which I think we need in a big way. You see teams, McTavish and Carlson, Celebrini, Will Smith. A lot of these teams have two guys that can sort of, Keller, Cooley. Um, so I think Bedard needs a running mate, not just guys that are going to be sort of fillers because they're on the Blackhawks, but they're playing second line even though they don't deserve to.
Yeah.
But that's my Hawks missing the playoffs. Big improvement. Hopefully picking between 6 and 10 in the draft, maybe even higher. You never know. That wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, sort of few years away from getting the madhouse on Madison back to the way it used to be. Let's go down 294 south, few hours, St. Louis, sort of a just team that's in my opinion. I think they're just like mediocre, to be honest. Um, Not a lot of moves this offseason from them. Very tough to see a veteran like Torrey Krug, probably going to miss the whole year due to an injury. Um, so Bennington and Hofer, I think, were a great tandem last year. They played really well. There's a lot of speculation Buchnevich was going to leave. I don't think that's the case. I think he's expiring at the end of this year, maybe, or maybe he re-signed. I think he re-signed actually.
He did, yeah.
So I
I
just
think it
think
was six times 8.
yeah, I think it's just it's a team that's like in no man's land, in my opinion. They don't really have a number one D. Um, Kairu's good. Jake Neighbors, bright spot last year, sort of getting on his horse. I think he had 63 points, maybe 53 points. Sort of young guy that can maybe show us something, but yeah, I think, Robert Thomas is going to get you 80 points, solid Selke level defense. Um, but yeah, nothing excites me about them.
Yeah, I think Bennington should start Four Nations for Canada. I 100% think that. I think their goaltending, I think that, like you said, I think that tandem's good, and maybe a future Jennings at the end of the year. I think that, like you said, like this, I mean, Torrey Krug, such a loss, but I mean, their defense might be fine. I mean, they got Justin Falk. I mean, Letty. I mean, it's just age for these guys. I mean, Pareko's good. Perovich, don't know how to pronounce it, but good. And then Tyler Tucker. He took a lot of penalties, I think, last year, but he was overall solid guy. Um, and then the offer sheets. I mean, that was their whole off season. Um, I mean, that was big news, especially. They might have overpaid a little bit on Broberg, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, especially cap going up. I don't think it does.
Yeah.
Hallway, good young. I mean, if he plays like he does if he plays every night like he did in the
That's my
playoffs,
boy. That's my
that
boy.
is your boy.
That's
That's
my
your boy.
boy. Can't
Uh,
believe I forgot about him. That's disrespectful.
yeah, if he plays every night like he did in the playoffs last year, I mean, granted he played on the line with some great guys, but that could be a great investment. And then maybe guys like Matthew Joseph, if they keep putting up 40 points, like third line guys, like if they can put up the like Kasperi Kapanen, like if they can put up at least 30, 40 points, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world from third and fourth line guys. But I don't think there's anything special about this team. I don't maybe I'd like to see Texier, see what he does this year.
Agreed.
But
Agreed.
I don't see them making playoffs.
Yeah.
But
Me either.
I think it's just like you said, they're kind of just there in it. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I think they need to. They're picking like 13th in the draft, which, you're not going to get that guy that's going to turn your franchise around, but you're not getting the last pick of the litter in the first round. So I think they need to sort of choose which way they're going to go. I appreciate Armstrong's approach this offseason. I know they're going to transition to Alexander Steen as the GM in a few years. But I think hopefully Armstrong can leave him in a good position to potentially be successful early in his general managing career. Be remiss if we didn't mention Islander and Blackhawk legend Nick Leddy, Hopefully he stays healthy this year and plays well. But yeah, nothing's like, ooh, this guy's gonna like the Blues. If they're on the television, I'm not turning them on. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
So yeah, but yeah, just nothing exciting out of them.
I forgot who their coach was. They have like a weird coaching staff. So they have their head coach Bannister, and then they have ex player Steve Ott, who was a Blue, and then I didn't realize they had Claude Julien as well as an assistant coach. But
Oh,
I don't think this team's special at all. And then I mean I think if I am turning the Blues on, the other team has to be a team that I can watch,
yeah,
or if like young guys like Toporchenko like start balling out for no reason. Like that's the only way I'm turning on this team on. I don't think a lot of Gloria is going to be buzzing around
yeah,
in St. Louis, but yeah.
yeah. Second to last, we're gonna come down to where I am. Let's hear your thoughts on the Central Division winner and conference winner last year, the Dallas Stars. What do you think?
I was very upset that this team didn't make it to the cup. They were my winners. I mean Jake Ottinger had a hell of a regular season, and I think it just something happened in the playoffs that he just plateaued. But I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to be an unreal goalie again. Got some news this offseason. Elias Lindholm, 5x5, 2-5. And then Thomas Harley, great young defenseman. I love this deal. 2x4, kind of almost like a prove it deal, but not in a sort of way. I thought he played unreal last year. Took great strides for him. They lost Pavelski obviously this offseason, future Hall of Famer. But I think Wyatt Johnson, unbelievable player. They lost Hakanpää as well, but I'm forget who was the other Stan Colvin, right?
Yeah,
That was,
Stanton.
and I think I saw some. I think this is his rookie year.
Yeah, he's still a
'Cause
rookie. He didn't
yeah,
play enough games. Yeah.
so Stan Coven. I mean Jamie Benn and Tyler Sagan had a great year last year. I think their forward core. Hopefully Robertson gets back up to that season he had 2 years ago, but I think that forward core is still really good. I think that the D core, especially with I'm Heiskanen too, Miro Heiskanen. Hopefully he takes another step toward the Norris year, but I think this team's going to be sort of like Florida was. I think they're going to be right back in that same similar spot that they just had. I think they're going to be right back to the conference finals, and I think they're going to win the Central again.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna correct you. It was Essa Lindell on the 5x5.25, not
Sorry, who
Elias
did I
Lindholm.
say?
Elias
Oh,
Lindholm lives in
okay,
Boston.
nice.
It's all good.
Yep, yep,
That's up by you.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're poised for another good run. I think we'd be lying if we didn't say cup or bust sort of type of time. I know it's not like all their guys are 34, 35 and they need to win. They got some good young talent. News came out yesterday, I believe. Jason Robertson's going to miss training camp and maybe the first week or so with foot foot surgery. I think he had recently. So um, kind of puts a hamper on him potentially getting sort of back to where he used to be. I think Stankoven, if I did bet, I think he would be the bet for the Calder. I think there's a lot of good Calder candidates and prospects this year, but that's a guy who's proven himself, played a lot of playoff hockey, knows what it takes to sort of win at this league at the crucial moments. Wyatt Johnson, I think ultimately he's going to take over 1C from Rupe Hintz. I don't think it'll be this year. Excited to see who's going to jump up on that line with Hintz and Robertson. Maybe just Hintz now because Robertson's out, so they need to find him some new not roommates, line mates. With Pavelski and him being out for a little bit. They brought in Matt Dumba on the back end on a deal that was heavily scrutinized a little bit. Him and Labushkin were sort of brought in on some deals that probably could have been negotiated for a little less term maybe a little less money as well. But Jim Nill has won back-to-back GM of the Year awards, so I'm gonna say he knows what he's doing. And then another guy that I think might be able to do a little bit of damage, pending if he play. I think he's going to play third line center. Is Maverick Bork. He and Stankoven were sort of running mates in the AHL last year. I think he was like Stankoven was like first in the league in points. He was second. He was a dynamo offensively last year. So I think definitely primed for a run again. Matt Duchene coming back as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully he can repeat. He's fleet of foot. So he ages pretty well. And I love Rupe Hintz. I think he's a great player. So hopefully all these guys can sort of come together to put out a good product on the ice and hope maybe just bring back a Stanley Cup to the city of Dallas for the first time since 1999.
I'd love to see it, and I think they have the right guy at the helm in DeBoer to do it.
Yeah.
But the big question is, what do you think's better, Rupe Hintz's play or his suit that he just had for his wedding?
Definitely his suit.
Definitely his suit.
Big fashion guy over here. Like his haircut, the buzz cut with the dyed hair, and I love the two-tone. It's the black and white cookie suit from Seinfeld. Love Seinfeld.
If only look to
show.
the cookie. If only
Look
you
to the
look to
cookie
the
lane.
cookie.
Look to the cookie lane. Yeah. So maybe that'll be if they win, it'll definitely be because of the black and white cookie suit.
100%.
No doubt about it. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up with the Minnesota Wild. Shout out Paul Wiechek, avid Wild fan. Congrats on him. Made an all roster this year. So playing up in Oklahoma. So he might come down to Dallas a few times and play around Texas. So hopefully I'll see him. But let's touch on his team next up in the land of 10,000 lakes. What are your expectations for this team?
Seems weird. It's a good team on paper. It's a great team. Fleury, looks like he's going to do one more year before calling it. And then they have Gustafson, who had an awful year compared to what he to his first year. But I just looked up a few of their stats. They need to figure out their PK because they were 30th in the league last year.
Wow.
74.5%. That is
Islander like.
Yeah, that is that's not going to win you games in the NHL. So hopefully John Hines will figure that one out. But I mean, Brock Faber, great rookie year last year. Almost had Bedard worried for a little second in the beginning and middle of the year. I think their D, it's Spurgeon, Faber. I mean, Zach Bogosian, and then John Merrill, he's solid. Jake Middleton also solid. I don't think there's any game winners. I could be wrong. Maybe just Brock Faber in there, but I don't think there's any game-winning D-man that are gonna change the outcome of the game for you when you need it most. But they do have a solid D-core. I'm looking forward to Jakob Trenin, another year from him. Marco Rossi as well. He was great spark to the lineup. Kaprizov, obviously, Johansson, Ryan Hartman, Joel Eriksson Ek. I love his play. Boldy obviously re-signed a new contract. I think this team I could see them fighting in for that first and second wild card spot. Maybe they take it away from Utah. I think the only way they take it away from Utah is guys like Kaprizov and like other guys who have been there, young guys that are going to put up a lot of points who've been there. But overall, I think it's going to be a lot of secondhand scoring that could get this team over the hump. If Marco Rossi and Trenin, if those guys can start produce, Hartman, Eriksson, if those guys can keep producing, and Kaprizov puts up another 90-something points, then I think they get the second wild card. But until there's certainty in the goaltending and defensive area. Maybe after a deadline acquisition or December acquisition, I don't think this team too much to worry about. Maybe.
Yeah. I think that this is a team I really like a lot. I don't know what it is. I think, Zuccarello and Kaprizov have that undeniable chemistry playing together. Matt Boldy had 69 points in 75 games last year. I think he can easily get up to 75 potentially. Um, I'm looking at some young guys that they have that I think need to take a step. Rossi was about a half a point a game last year. I think if he can get to, maybe 65 points, then that'll go a long way. I love their depth. Guys like Marcus Foligno can really change a game. Connor Dewar, I think he actually got traded, if I'm not mistaken, at the deadline. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember. But Brock Faber, I think, is great. One guy you didn't mention, Jonas Brodin. He's not a game winner on the offensive side, but he's a game saver on the defensive side. He's a really underrated defenseman in this league. So I think, yeah, the young guys, I think Marat Kuznetsov, who is a Russian prospect, played a lot of year in the AHL, was really good. I think he could potentially have a good season, and as well as Liam Ogren, who played 4 games at the end of the year last year, looked pretty poised, but maybe they even bring up Jesper Wallstedt, who to some is the #1 goalie prospect in the NHL if they're having some goalie troubles. But yeah, I think Kirill Kaprizov, I think he's going to have 115-ish points. I think he's going to go for that many, especially if they stack up that first line. Maybe go Kaprizov, Boldy, and Eriksson Ek. Maybe have like Rossi with Zuccarello and Hartman as their top 6. Maybe even throw Marcus Johansson in there, or Freddie Gaudreau, who's going to win you every shootout if they ever go into it. But yeah, I mean, you're going to expect regression from a guy like Jacob Middleton, who had 25 points in 80 games as a defensive defenseman. I think that was a career high by like 15 points. I don't think he ever had like more than 10 in a year. So if he goes back to back 20-point seasons, we might have to put a little bit more respect on him. But yeah, I think if they make the playoffs and Kirill has about 110, 115 points, which I think is fair. I think he can go for 50 and 70 or 55 and 55 and get you 110. And I think he's a strong candidate for the Hart Trophy. Um, so yeah, I I
Uh,
don't I don't think they'll be in the playoffs. I don't. Um, I just yeah, it'll be a battle between them and maybe a team in the Pacific for that second wild card to see which division gets 5 and the other gets 3, in my opinion. So,
they
uh,
missed out last year by 12 points to
yeah,
to Vegas getting that last spot.
yeah,
Um, but I mean Jesper Wall said he played. I think he went. I think he played 3 games last year. 2-1. Um, he had 3 goals against. This team, I don't. They like you said, they do have a really nice lineup. I just don't think they're there yet. I think they need maybe depending what they do at the deadline and how they feel. But I think they need to get rid of get some help like in like I don't think Zuccarello is in this league for much longer. Um, what is he like 37, 36?
Yeah, I think he's like 37, 38, maybe 36.
Yeah. And so that what you were saying with Bedard was like, you should get one more superstar around him. And I mean, that whole team is built around like 50 point, 60 point. I mean, Boldy's the guy, right? But I feel
Mhm.
like you need Boldy to take a huge step to get to that Kaprizov 100-point level. And then I think it would take some time for that. But I think the Wild and the Blues are carbon copies of each other.
Yeah, I think the Wild have a better like prospect situation. They have guys, Zeev Bouillon, he's back in Denver, who's elite. I think he'll be a great signing once the college season is over. Him and Faber on that D is going to be looking great. They got a guy over in the KHL, Yurov, who may be in the AHL this year, who I think's pretty good. Not, I think he is pretty good. But yeah, I get what you're saying about that second sort of difference maker. I mean, Joel Eriksson Ek giving you 65 and 77 and playing Selke level defense. That's
That's
something you can't really replace. But yeah, Boldy, I don't think he'll ever reach the point totals that Kaprizov has given you. But yeah, it's just sort of a interesting time, and with the bad goaltending they got last year, it sort of exposed a little bit more of their issues than they actually have, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Whew. Is that the whole division?
That is, and I was about to say, so if you want to go 8-1 or 1-8, like what's your order here?
All right, we're gonna go Hawks 8.
Yeah.
Blues. Utah and Minnesota, like right there
Like, okay. Yeah.
at, what was that, 6 and 5. And then we're gonna go 4. We're gonna give to Winnipeg, and then we're gonna go Nashville, Colorado, Dallas.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna go from the top because I think our top 4 are fairly similar. Dallas, Colorado, Nashville. And then
You got Utah, man. You got Utah.
I do have Utah. I want the underdog story, man. And there's just something about, I swear, I mean, Kraken didn't have it. Kraken had it in the second season.
They're my
But there's just
team.
something just about changing a venue, getting a new team in a new city. I think a lot of jumps going to come from that lineup. A lot of good guys on that team. A lot of scrappy guys like Liam O'Brien, even though they're not good. But yeah, I'll give it Utah in the 4. Winnipeg right there though. Like
Okay.
it could be like it could be like
Flip
1
flop.
point difference. Yeah, 1 point difference. And then Wild. I really want to put the Blues last, but I can't. The Blues and then Blackhawks. Yeah.
It's fair. It's definitely
Yeah.
a fair ranking. Yeah, I think overall it'll be a pretty strong division. I don't think it'll be, oh, you're playing the Hawks, it's point night anymore. I think there's a lot of competent teams in the division, but ultimately there's some that are a lot better than others. So yeah, that's my take on it. And
Do we have a President's Trophy winner in there, or are Dallas getting it?
No, because whoever wins doesn't win the cup, and I think Dallas can win it. So the last team to win the President's Trophy, you remember? To win the cup?
Oh, it's got to be like Capitals or something.
Chicago Blackhawks, 2015.
Really?
Yep.
Who won it last year? Rangers or
Yeah.
Rangers?
Rangers.
Yeah.
We got one more thing to cover, and it may be bigger than this whole division. We got Thursday night football tonight. We got the New York Jets.
I don't know if you can see it. Yeah.
Take flight against the New England Patriots. We have the battle of terrible teams on primetime football tonight. What do you got for us?
Well,
What's going on over in Jetland?
I wouldn't be a Jet fan if I didn't start making excuses. Jacoby Brissett hasn't looked stop. I mean, he's looked pretty good, and the Jets suck versus the Patriots. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It doesn't matter who it is. The Jets. It's honestly amazing. I just hope if we can just fire Hackett, we gotta stop running the damn ball. The Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson and even Mike Williams. Mike Williams only had 1 catch, but he had 1 route, and it was just all lob balls that Aaron Rodgers can just put it where only they can catch it. If we can just do that, the only time I want to see us run the ball is giving it to that Braden Allen kid, that 270-pound beast from Wisconsin, Nebraska, wherever he was.
No, Wisconsin. You're right. Wisconsin.
Yeah. and especially because our defense has been awful the last 2 games. But I think Jets win comfortably. I think it's going to be 30-10. Jets
30 to
win.
10. Wow. Okay.
JETS.
How does Chris feel about the Jets this season?
Chris is trying to make a lot of profit this year, selling the tickets. He sold a lot in this. He sold a lot in the summer. Made some good profit off some unfortunate Jet fans. Yeah, no, but I mean he's happy, you know.
How would you assess Aaron Rodgers' play this year?
I think it's a lot better than Kirk Cousins. If you look at Kirk Cousins, he played. I'll give it to him. He played really well versus the Eagles, but he does not look mobile at all. Like he cannot move in the pocket how he used to. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers, for a 40-year-old with an Achilles injury, I feel like he moves like really well.
Pretty well, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, just I saw something the other day. I think he just brings a sense of calmness to the room. Maybe not to Lazard, who drops like 3 balls a game on him, but yeah, no, I think put it this way, I think we're fine right now. If the defense plays a little better, maybe we got something. But I think it's Tua going down. I think it's a big. I don't want to prey on anyone's injuries, and I hope whatever his decision may be is the best for him. But I think it's the Jets division. Because Josh Allen, I've always said this is a fraud. Josh Allen is the biggest fraud in the league.
All right. Yeah.
What do you think about prime time?
Yeah, I got a 24-13 win for the Jets, Jets. I don't know. I think the Patriots are terrible. Like, I think they're awful. Coming from a Giants fan, I think they're terrible in general, but they're just even more terrible. And don't get me wrong, we're terrible. Giants, we're terrible. Awful. But yeah, I think I saw a lot from the Jets offense last week. I like Breece Hall catching balls out of the backfield. I think he's become a dynamic sort of. I don't want to compare anybody to Christian McCaffrey because he's sort of on a different level, but I think he can sort of get there, that receiving back. But yeah, I think it just sort of it's the Jets game to lose in a sense, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and that's the worst.
But those are the ones they lose, which is unfortunate.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think it'll be a 24-13 win. And yeah, sort of ho-hum week for them and maybe get ready for whoever they play next week. I don't know. Do you know who they got next week or no?
Maybe it's the Chargers. I don't really know for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the first home game of the year for them. I think it's a statement win. I mean, 24-13. I'm laughing 24-13. I'm going to put 500 on black if we win 24. I love that scoreline. But I think it's going to be a huge statement win. I think 30-10. First game home. First game since Rodgers has played besides his 4 snaps at home. Yeah, no, I'm like
who's got the first touchdown tonight?
I'd love to see it. Give it to the unlikely hero from last week with that catch. Give it to Mike Williams. We don't give him the ball. Just toss someone up to him.
I think it's Rucker, the tight end.
Rucker, the tight end. Yep. That's fair. Yeah.
Rodgers loves his tight ends. Loves them.
Yeah. I'd love to see Sauce is having a rough spell. I'd love to see him do something tonight. Okay. Especially we lost so many guys versus the Titans last week. Jermaine Johnson, huge loss. I don't know what CJ Mosley. I think he's out for a few weeks. But,
time for those leaders on the back end to step up.
Yeah, it's annoying because first decent team, I actually care about the injuries now. Other years, if someone went down, it didn't matter.
Whatever. Yeah. We could be decent, so I care.
Yeah. The only thing I care about is Zach Wilson getting the starting job. I think he could start on 5 teams right now. Yeah. Wherever he goes, I'm buying a jersey.
We're gonna trade. We should trade him to the Giants.
He would start on the Giants.
I know.
Tommy Cutlets is gone. if
How
he
about
goes there.
how about Jets legend Sam Darnold absolutely picking apart defenses? I mean,
He's
he played the Giants week 1, so
yeah, but wouldn't you say arguably that's a harder game?
because they're that
Because
bad.
yeah, so you want to shine versus the bad teams.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Well, who
Yeah,
cares?
well, I mean, he threw an unreal ball to Jefferson in stride. So I mean, who do your G-men got this week?
Browns. We're gonna get pumped.
Well, he's a better man than he is a quarterback now. So I mean, uh,
Yeah, we're gonna
Deshaun
get.
Watson. I don't. No, I think
I'm
G-men
I'm
pull a win.
I'm just looking for Malik Neighbors' success. That's it.
There.
So
No, I think G-men get a win this week. He's like I said. I think he's a better man than he is QB now. So
it's not their offense that scares me. Their defense is insane.
nah, Danny Dimes gonna roll out of the pocket, run for like 200 yards. Like
Break his neck again. Oh,
who's?
the
Oh,
man.
that you guys have a good backup though, Drew Lock.
Yeah, I want him to play. Like I actually want him to play. Like, oh, what do you got for the Stangs tonight? You think we got to win?
You're playing University of North Texas. You said right?
Yeah.
What was it last year?
Last game we played, we beat them 7-6 with 2 seconds left on the clock. But we were
Wow.
undefeated against them last year. We won 3 times.
Okay. You guys same goalie in the putt in the net?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if only Gregory Miley, if he could keep up his play,
I don't know.
I'll give him a little more wiggle room tonight. Maybe a little more defense. I'll give him a 6-4-5-3.
Okay.
I think
All
it's
right.
I think it's gonna be a getting the legs back into it type of game. Maybe not too much scoring. So like
Yeah.
5-3-6-4. I don't know. What do you think?
I think special teams is going to be the name of the game. I think in 3 games last year, we let up 14 power play goals against them. Shows you how many penalties we take. And I think we were 0 for 7 on the power play in those 3 games. So special teams is going to be the play. I could see like a 4. I think it's to be close. I think like 4-2, 4-3. Maybe a little less structured, maybe a little bit more goal scoring, maybe like 6-5. Because it's the first one of the year for us. They've already played last weekend, so they sort of got
Okay.
their legs. Yeah, I think it'll be close, but yeah, I'd say we go. I'm gonna say 5-4 win.
No ENG.
No,
Okay.
nope.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm hopefully whoever runs your social media gets another who gets to the rink at what time, another video or something like that.
yeah, dude, we got an Instagram takeover today. My man
Oh,
James
really?
James Jeffrey is doing the takeover. Shout out to James, Long Island kid, not an Islander fan though. So,
Uh,
but yeah, but appreciate you boys for listening. Episode 1, more to come, and we'll see you next time.